All right, I want to welcome everyone to our live Saturday morning presentation. As you can see by the opening screen, and everyone should be able to see my screen. If for some reason you can't, please let me know. But you should see how to use testimonials, stuff worth shouting about, the word from our satisfied clients. And our whole presentation today is to help you understand both the power of a testimonial, especially when you properly use testimonials that match up to the needs of the potential client that you're talking to. Or if you've got clients, as we were talking previously to starting today's presentation, Timothy has a client that has seen fantastic results on the Trulum product. We're going to show you how to create testimonials for, like, say, nitric oxide therapy or some of the nutritional products from Synergy Worldwide. But the Trulum product line is a definite product line from Synergy Worldwide. So we want to begin to help you understand how to take clients' testimonials that you have, people that you're working with and they've had great experience on the products. How can you get their testimonials so that you can share that information with other potential clients as it matches up to their needs? So one of the things that is talked about in the industry of network marketing, as well as in any kind of marketing platform, is facts tell, but stories sell. You know, there's two sides. We can give people all the facts about ProArginine Plus, or we can share stories with them. And you'll find that stories are what resonates with people. So the proper use of product and business testimonials are foundational or fundamental to acquiring customers and attracting business builders. And learning how to position other people's testimonials and learning how to properly share your testimonial can be a great asset in helping you grow your Synergy business because it provides a lot of different things. Now, I'm pulling this presentation from an old presentation that I did, and when I was doing, and I've updated it, but when I was doing it, we used to have this slide on all our presentations that we used to do on Saturday mornings, and it's appropriate to what we're doing here. There's really just three goals that you have in your Synergy business. The first goal is to improve your N factor, or your skills. And that's why we do these Saturday morning presentations. That's why we have the website, Our Synergy Family, to provide you with resources and tools and do these Saturday presentations. We're recording this Saturday presentation. It's going to go up on our YouTube channel. You're going to get an email next Tuesday from me, our Tuesday email newsletter that will have the recording of today's presentation. It's all about improving your N factor so that you can do a better job acquiring customers and attracting business builders. And when you do that, the results are you're going to increase your positive outcomes, meaning that every person that you meet and that you actually implement these skills, these marketing strategies, you're going to increase your probability of having a positive outcome, which means that that person's going to want to get more information. And out of the information that you properly give to them, both testimonials and maybe a video, you're going to find that you're going to end up with a client. So for example, I had a person call me last night, and I just talked to them this morning prior to today's presentation. They ordered a jumbo jar. How is that possible? Because they saw one of my videos. The video spoke to their need. They called me. I shared last night with them some additional information with regards to some testimonials that applied to their particular situation. And so they called me, well, they called me late last night, but I had gone to bed. So I called them this morning and then took their order, and we'll be sending them a jumbo jar this morning in the mail. So what we're talking to you, what we share with you on these Saturday morning presentations is all about helping you to build your skills so that you can do a better job acquiring customers. In this case, this person who's getting a jumbo jar is strictly a customer, not interested in a business builder, but we'll see what happens. Maybe in the future, they'll want to become a business builder. And if you can begin to add business builders into your organization and help them do exactly what you're seeing on this slide, help them build their skills by getting them plugged into the Saturday morning presentations or watching the recordings of these Saturday morning presentations, using the Our Synergy Family website to help them understand where their tools and resources are at and begin to help them acquire customers and attract business builders. What's that going to do? That's going to build your organizational volume to help turbocharge your basic commissions, mega matches, and leadership bonuses. And so today we want to talk about testimonials. And basically there's just two types of testimonials. There's testimonials for the products and there's testimonials for the business. And you need to be able to have testimonials in both categories based upon the people that you're talking to. Now, the purpose of a testimonial has really just three things. One, you use it to build bonds of trust. So for example, as I talk to a person who has high blood pressure, how do I build that bond of trust? Well, I can share a testimonial, my wife's testimonial, how she had high blood pressure that was 160/90. And finally, she decided to use Pro-Arginine Plus, and that Pro-Arginine Plus, usually the power of nitric oxide therapy, took her blood pressure from 160/90 down to 112/68. Now, when I share that with a person who has high blood pressure, it does a couple things. One, it helps them understand that there's other people, so I'm building that trust level. I provide credibility to what the product nitric oxide therapy and the product Pro-Arginine Plus can do, and I demonstrate success. Because when people hear that my wife's blood pressure went from 160/90 to 112/68, I usually hear a verbal response to that, wow, or something to that nature, which means then that that testimonial has resonated with that individual's particular situation. Now, if I was dealing with a person who's looking for athletic performance, I'm not going to share my wife's testimonial on high blood pressure to that individual. I might share my testimonial that in 2008, when this product came on the marketplace, I started using it and I saw significant benefits to me because at that time, at the age of 55, I was still playing competitive indoor soccer in a very competitive league. It was a men's over 40 league, but it was an extremely competitive league. And what it did for me is it helped create more on-court endurance. And more importantly for me as a 55-year-old individual, I didn't have soreness the next day. So it really made an impact on my athletic performance and allowed me to play for a whole lot longer without the soreness that I used to have. So again, you want to tailor the testimonial to the individual that you're talking to and the needs that that individual has so that you can build that trust, provide credibility, and demonstrate success. Now, there are two types of testimonials. There's ones that are unsolicited that people just give to you. And Timothy, you've got a little bit of that, but quite frankly, you're going to need to solicit the testimonial. And as we go through today's presentation, Timothy, I'll make sure that I take time at the end of today's presentation to give you suggestions on how you can get that information from her, and then you're going to basically need to write that person's testimonial. So 90% of your testimonials that you're going to get, you're going to need to solicit from your clients. That when they tell you that they have a great, they're seeing fantastic improvements in their health from Pro-Arginine Plus. Well, if you tell them, well, could you write out your testimonial? I can guarantee you that you'll be lucky to get anything from them. So you're going to most likely have to do a process of asking them a series of questions, first getting permission. Well, that's great. Would you mind if I ask you a series of questions and get some information from you? Because I would love to have this as a testimonial that I could help and share with other people. Would that be all right with you? Again, always asking permission from individuals. You'll find that 8 to 9 times out of 10, people will say yes when you're asking permission, as opposed to telling them that you're going to take their testimonial. Always put it in the aspect of permission. And when you do that, you're going to find people being very responsive to allowing you to ask questions. And then once you do that, you're going to put it into text, send it to that individual, not wait for them to give you a confirmation, but you call them once you've sent it to them and make sure that what you wrote is workable for them. And again, I'm going to give you an example of that process today. Now, I basically just covered this. You should write their testimonial. Now, there's 4 keys that help to really significantly impact the testimonial. 1, you need to have a person attached to it. That's why I talk my wife, that provides some personal attachment to it. There needs to be brevity to it. There needs to be an emotional benefit that you share, or I should say it creates an emotional response, and that there's a definable benefit. So when I shared that testimony about my wife to a person who has high blood pressure, it has all 4 of these qualities. My wife had high blood pressure. In fact, her doctor, her blood pressure at the time was 160/90. Her physician told her that she either needs to go on medication or find some other alternative. So she finally decided to use the product Progen Plus, which harnesses the benefits of nitric oxide therapy. And so what it did for her is it took her blood pressure from 160/90 to 112/68. And again, when I say that, I hear a response from people who have high blood pressure. So there's a definable benefit, there's brevity to it, I've attached a person, and I've created an emotional response. Now, Dan Geroy is on today's presentation, and he didn't know I was going to do this. But when Dan decided to become a distributor, he wanted to be able to share with other people the kinds of results that he got. Now, as a distributor, he's a little bit different than, say, a client. So as a distributor, one of the first things that I did I said to Dan is, okay, Dan, I want you to write your testimonial and then send it to me. A little bit different than what I would do with a client. With a client, I wouldn't do that. With a client, Timothy, I would ask them a series of questions, which we'll get to after we go through this presentation for Dan and what I did with Dan. Dan's different. Dan's a distributor. So I asked Dan to write out his testimonial, which is what you see on the screen here, because I'm taking the first step with Dan. If Dan's not willing to spend the time to write out his testimonial, then that tells me that Dan isn't going to make the commitment to really build his synergy business. But if Dan is willing to write out the testimonial, then I'm willing to commit time and energy to helping Dan take that testimonial and maybe make it into a story, and then from a story into a really condensed testimonial. You'll see the process as we go through this. Now, the nice thing about what Dan sent me is I basically pretty much used everything that Dan sent me. Now, I'm not telling people here on this call that I'm better at writing stories than Dan. All I do is I just look at this from a story standpoint, a perspective standpoint that's a little bit different than maybe where Dan's coming from. And again, it's all about the 2 of us working together to create the best testimonial that will resonate with people. Now, I'm not going to read this because I've taken the information that Dan shared with me, and this is the first step. This is what I sent back to Dan, and then there was I think a minor, we had a minor change to it. But here, let me read this, because this is a story. This is a story that Dan could share as an email to either a new potential client or to existing people that he has in his database. Hi, my name is Dan Geroy, and I would like to share with you how God orchestrates opportunities to help us. In April of this year, 2018, I spent a week in the hospital trying to figure out what was wrong with me. After many tests, the doctor informed me I had stage 3 kidney disease. She said it would progressively get worse, that I would have to be on dialysis. I told my doctor that the great physician had other plans. About a week later, a man from church found out I had kidney issues, high blood pressure, and diabetes. He told me the following Sunday that he had a product that harnesses the power of nitric oxide therapy and could potentially help me. To my surprise, the next day I found a box of Progen Plus on my front steps. I had never heard of this product, so I went on the internet and began a search. I then called my son to find out the name and number of the person who left the box. I called to thank him and find out how much I owed him. He said that I owed him nothing, for that was his ministry. I also inquired how he knew about the product. He gave me 2 family testimonials. One was an uncle who had been on dialysis for 2 years, and after taking the product for several months was able to stop dialysis. Another relative was getting ready to have his leg amputated. He was on the product several months and his leg was no longer black, but normal color had returned. I began taking the product a little over a month ago, and my energy levels have greatly improved. My blood work last week showed that my kidney function had slightly improved and my blood pressure had come down significantly. I'm beginning to enjoy the benefits of nitric oxide therapy, and ProArgent Plus has become my product of choice. All because someone shared this knowledge with me, I want to share it with you. Now, that's pretty long for a testimonial, so it doesn't have the brevity, but it is a great story. It's a great narrative. It's truthful, and it creates an emotional impact, especially for the client base that Dan has, which is a faith-based client base. So there's, we highlighted certain things, how God orchestrates opportunities to help us. The doctor informed me I had stage 3 kidney disease. I told my doctor the great physician had other plans. He had a product that harnesses the power of nitric oxide therapy. I found a box of ProArgent Plus on my front steps. I called to thank him. He gave me 2 family testimonials. After taking the product for several months, was able to stop dialysis. His leg was no longer black, but normal color had returned. My energy levels have greatly improved. Last week showed my kidney function had slightly improved, and my blood pressure had come down significantly. And ProArgent Plus has become my product of choice. So one of the things that we did in highlighting sections of that narrative was that if a person wanted to just read the bold information, that would also tell a story and be a very powerful testimonial. Now, from that, Dan has been on the product for now, I think, about 5 months. And so rather than just being on the product for about 2 months, we now have some really definable benefits. So here is Dan's testimonial that I just shared in the story, down to something that he could share anytime with any person in less than a minute, 60 seconds, most likely less than 45 seconds. He's in a conversation with people. I was diagnosed with stage 3 kidney disease. Someone shared nitric oxide therapy with me. The result has been the following. My blood pressure went from 190 over 100, now down to 140 over 76. My creatine levels dropped from 1.73 to 1.04. The pressure in my left eye has gone from a 22 down to 7. And the wound on my big toe that wouldn't heal is now healed. I've joined the Million Lives Project to share this Nobel Prize-winning information with others. Would you like more information on how nitric oxide therapy could be a natural way to address your whatever? So what I'm sharing with you is a progression that I've worked with Dan on to be able to take his original testimonial to then put it into a narrative that he could send to his client base, faith-based client base, faith-based clients that he has a database for, that would share his story, his journey, resonate with them, begin to create interest. And now when that person talks to them, as I shared in my testimonial, as I shared in that email I sent to you, I had stage 3 kidney disease. And I was fortunate, someone shared nitric oxide therapy with me. And as I wasn't able to give you the defined results, but I've been on this now for about 4 months, 5 months, and here's what it's done for me. My blood pressure was 190 over 100. I'm down to 140 over 76, significantly dropped. My creatine levels went from 1.73 to 1.4. I'm back in the normal range. The pressure in my left eye has gone from 22 down to 7. And I had a wound on my big toe that just wouldn't heal. It's now healed. I can go out and cut the grass. I'm so excited. I decided to join this Million Lives Project so I could share this Nobel Prize-winning information with others. So would you like me to send you some information on how nitric oxide therapy could be a natural way to address your high blood pressure or your kidney issues or your diabetic complications or whatever it might be? Now, there's a couple things here. One is when I took Dan's testimonial that you see on the screen, I didn't speak it the same way that it's shared there. I just know, I have the beauty of having this in front of me, that I don't have to just read it word for word, but I can go and put it into my own language, my own speech pattern, my own rhythm of how I speak, and share it with someone. And if I'm talking to them over the telephone, they will not know that I have this in front of me, because you want to share the testimonial in a, I just want to go back to this last slide here. Let's see, previous slide. So you want to share the testimonial in a conversational way. Now, when I wrote this out for Dan, after I wrote it, I spoke it. Physically spoke it out loud so that I could hear how it was written. And if it did not sound like I was having a conversation with Dan, then I needed to go in and change the word structure so that I don't care whether the English teachers like it. All I care about is whether it sounds conversational. So I don't care whether I keep English rules of grammar. My goal or concern is to make sure that what is spoken sounds conversational. And so I took this process, and then when we went to this next level, it's the same thing. Whatever testimonial that you write out, you must speak it out loud. And if it does not sound like you're having a conversation with an individual, you need to change it until it sounds like you're talking to an individual. Now, the other thing that you need to do is, if you're going to share a testimonial, you need to attach a question to it. Because all a testimonial will become then is just facts instead of a story. Because when you ask a question to it, that story that you just shared with them requires an answer if you put a question to it. Adding the combination of your testimonial that has a person to it, that has brevity to it, that has definable benefits to it, and creates an emotional response to it, if you then couple it with a question, you'll increase your N factor, or the probability of someone saying, yeah, I want more information on this, because it's compelling. Your story, your testimonial is compelling, and you're asking a question that leads them to your next response. They want more information. Now, why do I tell you to use a question for more information? Because if you do that, you'll have the opportunity to engage them in future conversation. By having this question, would you like more information on how nitric oxide therapy could be a natural way to address your high blood pressure? Then they say yes to that. Then I would say, great, I've got a fantastic video. In fact, it's a video that I came across myself that helped me understand this whole area of nitric oxide therapy. Would I have, could I have your permission to send that to you? Now, you may wonder why I say that, but by asking permission, I'm letting that person know that they think that they're in control. I know that if I ask the question, I'm in control, but I want them to think that they're in control. It's not manipulation, but it is just using a smart way of being able to present information to people so that you can progressively move them to a yes, and a desire for more information. So they say, yes, I'd love to see that video. Great, let me get your email address. So you get that. What would be a good day and time for me to call you to follow up to make sure you got the email and see if you have any questions on the video? And then I get that day and time, get their phone number, And then, great, when I get home tonight, I'm going to send you a link to that video. Now, we've done presentations in the past on how to, create that email. But what it does is it gives you a reason to follow up. It gives you a video that you can then harness the same way that I harness my videos. My videos that are on YouTube create an emotional response because people are searching for information to address a specific health issue. They come across the video on how nitric oxide therapy addresses that health issue. The video makes sense to them because I hear it all the time. And you are now able to harness that same video because that video is not branded to me. It's a non-branded video. You can send it to the individual and you can get the same type of response that I get. The information in the video speaks to their concern, helps them to see how this can truly benefit them. Why hasn't my doctor told me about this? And when you do your follow-up, it's not like, did you like the video? It's like, what in that video spoke to you? Again, a question. And it all starts with the power of a testimonial that would resonate with the individual that you're talking to, with a question attached to it to get a positive response and a desire for more information. Now, that was Dan Geroy's testimonial. How can you borrow his testimonial? Well, this is the easiest way of doing it. I have an associate who had high blood pressure. So you're talking to a person who has high blood pressure. I have an associate who had high blood pressure. And again, not has high blood pressure, had high blood pressure. He was diagnosed with stage 3 kidney disease. Now, why did I throw that in there? Well, I threw it in there because maybe that individual knows someone with kidney disease, or that this person has other significant health issues. Someone shared nitric oxide therapy with him. As he applied it, his blood pressure went from 190 over 100 down to 140 over 76. Plus the wound on his big toe that wouldn't heal is now healed. Needless to say, he's extremely grateful, as this is the best he's felt in a long time. Would you like more information on how nitric oxide therapy could be a natural way to address your high blood pressure? Now, I didn't share in this testimonial all of Dan's specifics. I didn't share about creatine. I didn't share about his pressure in his eye. I shared defined benefit 190 over 100 down to 140 over 76 because that applies to high blood pressure. And I threw in the wound healing because it's simple for a person to understand. Plus the wound on his big toe that wouldn't heal is now healed. Needless to say, he's extremely grateful, as this is the best he's felt in a long time. Now, you'll also notice that as I read this to you, I emphasize certain types of words. If you are on a phone talking to an individual, you have the benefit of having stuff like this in front of you. If you're not on a phone, or if you're talking to a person one-on-one, then you just need to be able to have 3 or 4 testimonials that you've basically memorized, so that you know how to share the information. Not necessarily memorizing the exact thing, but being able to memorize certain information within that. So for example, I'm going to move this. So don't worry about the business testimonial. I'm talking to a person, you've got high blood pressure. I really think that you need to understand nitric oxide therapy. For example, I've got an associate who has high blood pressure. In fact, he had stage 3 kidney disease. Someone shared with him nitric oxide therapy. And as he applied it, his blood pressure went from 190 over 100 down to 140 over 76. In fact, the wound that he had on his big toe that just wouldn't heal, healed. Well, needless to say, he's extremely excited about how much better that he's feeling. So I've got a question for you. Would you like more information on how nitric oxide therapy could naturally address your high blood pressure? Now, I do not have any notes in front of me, and that screen that I just shared with you is gone. Hopefully, I shared the right information with regards to, okay, so I got his blood pressure correct, 190 over 100, 140 over 76. Those are the two things that I got to make sure that I get right. Because if you don't get it right the first time and you change it the next time, the person's going to say, well, I thought you told me before it was this. So always get the defined numbers right. And then the rest of the stuff is a narrative that you just remember the concepts. And you then put them together as you're talking to that individual and having a conversation with them. Now, you can also share business testimonials. But again, if you're going to share a testimonial, end it with a question. And the question should be to lead the person to the next logical step that you want them to move to. So in a product testimonial, it's not talking to them about a business opportunity. It's talking about them wanting more information to help them benefit from nitric oxide therapy as it applies to their specific health issue. In this case, if it's a business testimonial, I'm not necessarily looking for a person to get on product. I'm looking for a person who might want to join me in the opportunity. So here's a business testimonial that you could adapt to your own way of speaking. You know, I've joined a business opportunity called the Million Lives Project. It's helping me make a significant difference in the health of those I know. And it's producing extra income for my family. Who do you know that has a passion for health and would like to make some significant part-time income? And then you shut up and wait for them to respond. And doesn't matter how long the silence is. Don't speak once you've asked the question, to give them the time to process the information and give you a response. And if the response is, well, I don't know of anyone like that. Okay, well, if you ever come across someone like that, here's my business card. And would you just please pass it on? Because I'm looking for people who are passionate about helping others improve their health and at the same time would like to make some significant part-time income. And you just leave it at that. They've got your business card, whether they throw it in the round container or whether they keep it on their desk or file it away, it doesn't matter. You practice, you get better, but some people will say, maybe initially, but you know, I think I'd like to talk to Dan about this opportunity. I certainly could use some extra part-time income. I like to, I like health, and again, your probability of when you're speaking with other people who also are like-minded to you that do, want to take care of their health, have a passion for helping others improve their health, you're just going to increase your probability of them responding to something like this. Product testimonial with a question. You get asked all the time, well, how things are going for you? Oh, they're going great. I just helped another client harness the benefits of nitric oxide therapy, which has helped to naturally lower their blood pressure. It was 160 over 90. Now their blood pressure is 112 over 68. Do you know anyone that wants to lower their blood pressure? And then you shut up and ask that question. They're processing. So instead of when a person says, well, how's it going? Oh, it's going great. And then you guys move on. Again, how often when you're in the company with other people that either you know and haven't seen for a while, or you just find out how things going for you? Fantastic. I just helped another client harness the benefits of nitric oxide therapy. It's naturally lowered their blood pressure from 160 over 90. They're now down to 112 over 68. Do you know anyone that needs to lower their blood pressure and would like to do it naturally? So again, there's the basics of that product testimonial coupled with a question. That they say, no, I don't know of anyone like that. Well, can I give you my business card so that if you do run into someone who has high blood pressure and they're looking for a natural way to address it, would you mind passing my business card on to them? It's a question. They're either going to give you a yes or no. If they tell you no, you don't give them the business card. If they tell you yes, you give them the business card. Thanks. Here's my business card. Thanks. I really appreciate it because I'm part of this Million Lives project, and our whole goal is to help 1 million people or more understand how nitric oxide therapy can be a natural way to address their high blood pressure. So any help that you can provide would be greatly, would benefit both them as well as myself. I appreciate your time. And then you just move on. Now, Timothy, let's get into your conversation. So, Timothy, if you can unmute yourself.
Got it.
Okay, so Timothy, my understanding from what you shared before we went live is that you have a client that is using the Trulum product line from Synergy Worldwide, and they're seeing fantastic results from it.
Correct.
All right. So, Timothy, what you need to do is you need to first approach that person. Give me that person's name.
Penny Loop.
Penny Lou?
Loop. L-U-P-E.
Okay, Penny Loop.
Penny is good enough.
Okay, Penny Loop. So, Penny Loop, would you mind, you've shared with me that you've had great experience on the Trulum product line. I'd like to share your experience with some other people. So would you mind if I ask you some questions, and then I'm going to send you a testimonial from the answers to your questions. Make sure it's okay with you, and then I would just like to share it with others. Is that all right, Penny Loop?
Yes.
Great. So you've shared with me that you've had fantastic results with the Trulum product. If you could tell me the 3 most important results, what would they be?
Let me step back for a moment. I've tried others and my skin just got worse. But with this one, I went on your site and looked at it, and the benefits look fantastic. Therefore, I have found that under my eyes, my cheeks, and my neck has improved considerably since I start using this product.
Okay. I'm making notes. So one of the things that you need to do is that is being shared to you, you need to be making notes and writing down the responses. So when you say that your eyes, cheeks, and neck have improved, what do you mean? Is that like wrinkles have gone away?
Yes, wrinkles from around my eyes, my cheeks are glowing much better than they ever have been, and my neck. The coloration has been neutralized.
Okay. And so Penny Loop, any other benefits that you want to share with me regarding Trulum?
My best benefit is the confidence I have in this product. As I told you, I've tried others, but this one is the best I've ever tried.
Okay. I think I've got enough information there to write a testimonial from that. So Timothy, let me see what I can do here and show. Let's bring up a Word document. So any questions for me while I'm pulling up a Word document so I could write this out? Timothy, any questions for me?
No, sorry. I thought you meant from the whole
No.
class.
Well, that would apply too, but for you specifically, yeah. Timothy, any questions?
No, don't have any questions. I'm waiting to see the results.
I may spell her name wrong, so don't,
Hello, one, go ahead. 1L1OPE.
Okay, got it?
Yes.
So while I'm doing this, do I have other people that might have questions for me? So I've got a client, Penny Loop, who's been using the Trulum product line from Synergy Worldwide. I'm going to say this because I don't want all this silence on the thing, and then what I'll do is I'm going to work on this, and then actually when I send out the Tuesday newsletter, I'll have a testimonial for you. You know,
That is a good idea.
okay. So I'm just going to speak this. Yeah, all right, because again, once you write it out, again, all that is the starting framework, and then I'll go through a process of speaking it and speaking it and speaking it until I like the way it sounds. So I have a client, Penny Loop, who has been using the Trulum product line from Synergy worldwide. She's tried other products in the past and have not gotten results, or in some cases gotten worse results. What she loves about the Trulum product line is that for the first time, the wrinkles around her eyes are disappearing. Her cheeks are glowing. She's normalized the color around her neck. And the best thing that she shared with me is she now has confidence when she steps out into the public. I don't know about you, if you've indicated to me that you're looking for some things to improve your skin. So as you can see from Penny Loop, this might be a great opportunity to try this product and see what it can do for you. Now, I'll write this out, Timothy, but I can tell you that's not going to be what the final version is going to be. All right.
Understood. Understood.
But what it does for me, Timothy, is it begins to help me structure the information in my mind, so that what I can do is I can then write what I would feel would be a testimonial that would resonate with other women that are looking for a skincare line that would improve their skin quality, their skin tone. And then, I'll share with you on Tuesday in the Tuesday newsletter. You can then take it from there. You can then massage it into your own words. And then I would just send it to Penny Loop and see if she signs off on it.
Yes, but I've got to go back to her before I send it.
Sure.
Yes.
Yeah. And get permission.
Yes.
And then also you ask her the series of questions. That's the key. When you have a client, you need to ask them a series of questions and then write down their responses. And we're not going to want to make anything up here. We're just going to want to be able to take their responses and put into words that are going to resonate with other people, send it back to the individual, and what you'll get a response back is, Timothy, that's exactly how I feel. You really listened to me. Thanks. And then you can thank her, well, I appreciate you let me use your testimonial, because now we can help some other women who maybe have experienced what you've experienced in the past, instead now experience vibrant skin.
Got that.
Now, one last thing before we close on today's call. Here's some suggestions. You need to keep a notebook or a journal with key testimonials. I would suggest that you get a notebook that has 10 product testimonials and 10 business testimonials to it. David Munoz does a fantastic job doing video testimonials. What was life like before ProAgent Plus? What was life like after being on ProAgent Plus? Would you recommend ProAgent Plus? So, he does a great job. And then as I was preparing this information for today's webinar, I'm going to put up a new section on our Synergy Family website. It's going to most likely be in the resource section, but it will be a specific area in the resource section with testimonials. Now, I've got some very powerful video testimonials from clients that I had 5 and 7 years ago that I don't really share anymore. They're on my YouTube channel, but I'll pull them into this section. David has some fantastic testimonials. They're in Spanish, but they typically have English subtitles to them. And then the last thing that I'll make available to people is, for those that are on today's call, you're all distributors. So if you want me to work with you on your testimonial, then you need to write your testimonial out, and then you need to email it to me. There's my email address, dan@agingnomore.com. I'll then send back to you any recommendations that I would have on how that testimonial is packaged. And then once we have it packaged the way that you want, I'm going to want a picture from you that will couple to your testimonial, and then we'll also put that testimonial up on our Synergy Family resource page so that other people would have access to it. If that makes sense, then it's now in your hands. You're distributors. You're not clients. I don't have to ask you to do this so that I can get a client testimonial. You're distributors. It's your Synergy business. It's your job to implement. So your job, if you want your testimonial, help packaging your testimonial, then you need to take the first step, write it out. Second step, send it to me. Third step, I'll send you back my suggestions. Fourth, once we finalize it, I would ask for a picture from you so that we can then share that with other people in our Synergy family so that they could also then use that as, well, I've got a client that has exactly the same issue you do. And here's what nitric oxide therapy has done for them. Would you like more information on how nitric oxide therapy could benefit you and your high blood pressure? Any questions from anyone before we say goodbye?
From me, Dan, no. Have a good weekend.
Okay, Timothy, was that helpful to you?
Thankful. Yes, please. And I'll look for your mail on Tuesday, and then we'll correspond.
Okay, sounds great. Anyone else before we say goodbye?
Awesome. Thank you so much, Dan.
You're welcome, Tracy.
Hey, Dan, thank you for everything. This is David. How are you?
Good, David. And yourself?
Wonderful, wonderful. Thanks for sharing that. And all I could say to the individuals, everyone has a client. If we're all distributors and we've been distributors for some time, all of us have at least one customer that has come back and been grateful to us. Feel free to reach out to that customer and ask if they wouldn't mind helping you help others by sharing their testimonials. And if they say yes, obviously it'll take a little bit of work, but it's as easy as recording a short testimonial on your iPhone. If they're close to you, if the customer's close to you, if they're far from you, ask them if they wouldn't mind recording something, maybe 1 minute long, short testimonial, sending it to you. And then that could be something that you can use as a tool on your social media page or with friends who have a similar concern. And at first, obviously, it's a challenge. People feel awkward, but the more you do it, the more comfortable you'll be with it, and the more you'll see results. So all I could say is, like you said, Dan, we're not spectators. We're in the game, so we got to jump in that game and participate and make it happen.
Sure,
So,
and David, everyone can get a free Zoom account, and just like I'm doing today, I'm recording it, so you could actually meet a person on Zoom and record their testimonial by just pressing the record button on Zoom to record on your computer, and then you'll have that.
That's true also. Yep. We got modern technology now.
Oh, yeah. No excuses except people not wanting to learn or apply.
Or stretch themselves.
That's right.
A little bit.
Oh, yeah. But David, since I got you on there, as you've stretched yourself, has it made a big difference in your Synergy business?
Yeah, most of the people in the call have heard my testimonial in terms of, my background was finance, and the last thing I wanted to do was get involved in an MLM, multi-level marketing, and push products on people. I never liked it. And so it was a transition for me, but once I simply told my story, and that's what I tell my distributors, just tell your story. Don't try to sell anything. Just tell your story. Share it. Share your story and those of the people that you've been able to help. And do it as a conversation, just like you said, Dan. A simple conversation. This is what happened to me. I'm really grateful. It's changed my life, and in turn, I've helped change others. And can you do me a favor and help me benefit others as it's benefited yours? And just wait for the answer. Just be quiet and wait for the answer. It's either a yes or a no.
Right.
So yeah, but it did help me, Dan. I had to stretch myself and learn new things and identify what nitric oxide therapy is and learn the verbiage. It wasn't overnight, but you just keep doing it, and eventually it becomes natural as anything else.
Thank you, David.
Thank you.
Anyone else before we say goodbye?
Yes, Dan, John here.
Yes,
I
John.
want to tell you that what you shared this morning is very helpful to me, and I really appreciate it.
Great. Thank you, John.
Okay.
Thanks. Bye-bye now. Anyone else before we say goodbye?
No question, Dan, just another good webinar, and I thank you.
Thanks, Donald. All right. Thank you, everyone. Have a blessed Saturday.